Hey guys, and welcome back. This is Chosen Architect, and today we are going to be automating some mechanisms. So I hope you guys are ready. So today, let's go. Like, we have a lot of stuff to get done today, and I'm super excited for this episode, specifically because we're diving into mechanism automation, which honestly is one of my favorite things to do. I really like setting up the automation stuff for mechanism, as it just flows so smoothly, at least for all the base components anyways. When you start getting into larger machine setups, that's when things are going to get a little bit spicy, to say the least. So, with this setup right here, I'm going to be using this compact machine. It is the largest compact machine that we have available to us. And, well, the first things first, I have to get my network into here. And that's probably the hardest part of this whole setup, is getting my refined storage in here. And if you haven't seen how I've set this up, well, it's just as simple as doing some autocrafts and, yeah, getting ourselves a receiver and a transmitter. All of this is just a bunch of autocrafting. So some of the main things that we need for mechanism automation is going to be getting each of these alloys set up and automated. Some of them, however, require multiple steps to be a little bit more efficient. So over here we have enriched diamond and enriched obsidian. All of those are going to be a little bit better than just using plain old crushed diamonds in this. So if we can set up some enriched diamond over here, we can save on diamonds. And then over here, we can also make enriched obsidian. And I mean, it does require a bit more power to be able to do these things, but I think overall this is going to definitely help us out. But first, let's get our main things done. And that's going to be these 3 infusing machines right at the start. I'm going to go ahead and set these up. I think it being one high like that off the wall is going to work out pretty nice. As you can see, I did place concrete on the wall. I could place these, I guess, directly up against the wall and just have them, you know, touching the cable. That actually might look a little bit cleaner. Just have them lined up against the wall like this. And plus, it kind of opens things up and gives a little bit more light, because these actual compact walls are light blocks. So whenever I put the concrete in here, it kind of made things a little bit dark. That's why I have the glass holes in the wall to kind of light things up. But yeah, this, so long as we can access the top and the bottom and it's still getting powered, I think this is going to work out pretty good. Now, we are going to need crafters that go on top of these. That's how this is going to receive the automation items, the items that we're going to use to send in. But we might actually need to use a buffer chest now that I think about it. We're probably gonna have to put the crafters like up here, have those go into a chest, at least for these, because it's going to require 2 different items, and I'm going to have to pipe into the front and into the top. Mechanism kind of makes it a little bit weird with that, so let's grab some chests, and we'll go ahead and get that set up. Individual chest here, and then we can use logistic pipes. I mean, logistic pipes should work for all of this. Like, just the plain Jane ones should be fine. And they're going to need to connect just like this. Now, you see that they're kind of mixed, and we don't want them definitely being connected. So we are going to need our... Let's see if it's in here. I don't think... Yeah, it's right here. Configurator. And we just click these if we're set into... Let's see. Make sure this is set to items. I think wrench even works. No, wrench completely breaks it. Needs to be set to item mode. Configure items. There we go. Looks like you click it enough, it'll end up popping these off. There we go, 3 times. So we definitely don't want those set up like that. Now, on the top here, we can actually configure these inside the block if we want. We have auto eject off. I'm going to probably turn that on for all of them. That way it'll auto eject the item into our refined storage system, which is going to be hooked down here. So down in the bottom, we are going to have some importers that are going to import all of our items that this generates into our refined storage network. So we have everything that comes back when we do our autocrafts. And that's pretty much how most of these setups are going to go. 2 items are going to be put into here for the machine. So 1 redstone, for example, for the infused alloy, 1 redstone is going to go in here with 1 iron. So the 1 redstone is going to go in the chest, also 1 iron, at least for that recipe. And then we need to configure what side is going to be the input for the redstone, which for this example, we can have the top. See, this has the bottom as that. We can clear these out by holding shift, and we can say, okay, the top is going to be our input for our iron, and then the front is going to be our input yellow, which we look at that machine, it should work just like this. So if I set up a crafting recipe real quick, and I say, okay, let's set up a process for this. And here's the process. We have redstone dust and iron there. That's ready to go, right? All we got to do is hit craft it. Perfect. We should be able to throw that in here. And then make sure we have this configured properly to pull. Like that. So it's going to automatically pull the items that go into that chest. And if we set this up and hook this up to our cables, and I route these cables up, hook into all those, we should be able to craft this now. So let's go ahead and craft 10 of them. And as you see, 10 redstone, 10 iron, and that should automatically start to put that in there. Now, what I might want to do eventually is probably upgrade these pipes to make these pipes a little bit faster. That is one of the only things I think that would definitely benefit this system. So let's talk a little bit about these enrichment chambers and this setup that I'm using right here. This honestly should be enough to get just about everything like processed. And it's not too many machines at all, right? It's 6 machines. I don't think I'm missing anything. Of course, I'll let you know if I am. But I'm going to go through everything and explain how this is all going to work, because the main things we're working on are these alloys right here. So at first, we already have the infused alloy ready to go. Now, the reinforced alloy, I need to set this up a little bit differently. I need enriched diamond. The reason I'm going to use this is because instead of using the diamond dust, which I think maybe gives you 20, which would give you 2 of these, we can double that by turning that 1 diamond into enriched diamond. It's the same amount of diamond, just it gets processed 1 more time, and that's going to give us double. So we'll end up getting 4 for the 1 diamond. Seems like a pretty good deal. So I need to just set up that autocraft, right? And that is going to be 1 diamond equals enriched. Very simple crafting recipe, and that's just going to go right in here. Now that we have that, we need to go ahead and get this recipe set up here, which is going to be for this. So I do need to change this out with the enriched. So I just drag that over here, and now this recipe needs 4 infused alloy. Well, I guess what we should do is definitely have it set up where it is a set number of 4 to make 4 in reinforced alloy. So I think you can click on this and you can change the number. So I don't even have to have the items. I mean, I can just do that. So yeah, this right here is the recipe, the exact recipe that we are going to use. And those numbers do matter. Those numbers definitely do matter. So when I put that in there, as you can see, 4 infused, that is going to be the recipe that we end up using. That is going to be the most efficient, and make sure that whatever goes into this metallurgic infuser gets completely used up every time. So we move on to the next one, which is a little bit more confusing, as we are going to introduce another item that is going to be another process that's going to be processed. So we need to make ourselves some enriched obsidian. Enriched obsidian is made the same way that diamond is, except for it uses the refined obsidian dust, and we need to make we need to make this obsidian dust. This obsidian dust is made the exact same way. However, you can see right here, I know that enriched diamond gives me 80 millibuckets of diamond, so I could technically make 8 refined obsidian dust out of this. Now, I do need to get obsidian dust in the first place. So that's one machine I do not have set up, which is a crusher. I believe the crusher. No, the enrichment chamber. So I do need another enrichment chamber set up. I mean, I guess I can just set that up right beside everything else. That's the one machine that I think I was missing. Do I have another way of crushing things? I don't think I do. So this might be the way that we set up like crushing for like anything else that we need to be just randomly crushed. So let me go ahead and get that set up. It's going to go right next to everything else. So as far as these recipes go, you kind of have to think about them as far as the enriched portion goes. So I definitely want to make sure they're even. So in this case, we are going to put 8 obsidian dust with that enriched, and the obsidian only uses 10 millibuckets. This will generate 80, so we'll end up with a return of 8, and that'll be the exact amount. I know, it may seem a little weird, but that's how these setups need to be done. Like I said, I do enjoy these. It's kind of It's really nice to kind of factorize certain things, and Mekanism just allows it to be done so well. I kind of like this. So back over here, I did change some things. I kind of made things look a little bit neater by keeping all of my metallurgic infusers over here. This metallurgic infuser, I don't know why I threw this in here, because this pattern is specifically for this metallurgic infuser over here. That's going to go in here. So just like everything else, we have our system set up to where the diamond will go, the enriched diamond will end up going into this slot, and then vice versa, it'll end up being produced. So back over here, we now need to take that and end up making this enriched obsidian. And this is actually a pretty simple recipe, because we're just going to be taking that refined obsidian and turning it into enriched. That's a pretty simple recipe for this machine. I'm keeping everything separate, by the way, so that way if we do need to craft a lot of these items, if we have it set up in one machine, it has to wait for another process to complete before then. Whereas this, it can just factorize everything. Of course, you can turn these into factories. I know that. Probably gonna have a lot of people telling me, why don't you just make a factory for these things? I don't want to do that. I want to keep things separate, so that way it kind of shows it a little bit easier. It's like easier on the eyes. And just, to me, it just makes it easier to see the automation process. So with that done, we almost have everything ready to go, right? We have this one made, and we're waiting for the last one. And we pretty much have all of these automated. The good thing about these over here is they just require these processes, and these are just actual crafting recipes. That's pretty straightforward. You may be wondering why I have enriched in carbon. If you were going to do steel, which we don't have to automate steel this way, we have a crop that does it. If you're going to automate steel, I also recommend using enriched carbon to automate steel. Steel automation is not hard either, but we have other ways of getting steel. So that's going to be just a regular crafting recipe. It's going to make this atomic alloy. Now, keep in mind, this uses 40, and remember that this generates 20. So this recipe is not right either. Also, this is not the right item. Alternatives. Ooh, I like that it gives you alternatives. Wait a minute. Oh, it just gives you alternatives on the dust. Not exactly what we want. We actually want to replace this. So shift to remove that item. Go into Mekanism, and I'm just going to drag this over. Now, we're going to do double on this, because if we look at the recipe for this, you can see it uses 40 millibuckets for this process, which means that if we get 80 out of the enriched obsidian, then we're going to have two. We're going to need 2 of these to equal 2 of these to utilize all of our enriched, so it doesn't get stuck in our machine. So we'll set that to 2, and that'll equal 2. And we have our recipe, our final recipe for that automation process for all of the base Mekanism materials. I think that's pretty straightforward, right? Now, we do need speed upgrades, and we're also going to need some other upgrades, energy upgrades. I want to get all these machines upgraded as much as we can. That's just going to make them a lot faster. However, these also probably need to be upgraded as well. And I'm just going to throw some speed upgrades all in these and get everything nice and sped up. That should be how they should work. I believe each of them take 8 speed upgrades apiece. I might have to make quite a few speed upgrades, but hey, we're going to have automation also set up for that here soon as well. So the only way to test this out, right, to be able to make these is to go to Mekanism and, well, just craft as many of these as we possibly can. Let's do a stack of 64. I think that's pretty reasonable. And let these machines take off. I hope that our network, looks like our network's supporting everything. Our pipes seem to be supporting everything. These seem to be keeping up. Our power seems to be keeping up. It's going pretty quick. Not horribly fast, but these are max speed upgraded at the moment. Seems to be making a bunch of those, and then once I guess everything else is done, it's going to move on. And eventually we'll get it. It's not going to be the fastest process in the world. You'll have to have multiple setups of these in order to make this, I guess, faster, because this is going to be your big bottleneck, and this is even max speed upgraded. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be the bottleneck. You know, the more I talk about it being the bottleneck, the more I'm like, you know, we could just go with the factory. The thing that I mentioned earlier, but I'm going to leave it for right now. Even though factories definitely will be faster, it's going to provide more slots. I don't think I've ever used the infusing factory, so I don't know how the infusing factory actually functions. So considering this has multiple input slots, does it like do multiples at one time? Like, I might need to just test and find out. Yeah, it actually does do multiples. Wow, it holds the fluid down here, or the liquid down here. And so we can set this up the same way. Input, set that up to the yellow, and output on the blue. That would actually be a lot better. And even upgrading just this one, and we can set to auto sort, so the way to auto split all the items. That would make this way faster. And it still has all of its upgrades. Oh yeah, I'm gonna upgrade all of these. Now the only other thing that I need to automate is actually gonna be this. I was kind of lied about everything else being crafting. This is all crafting after you make the basic circuit. So I still need to make the circuit, so I did rearrange this yet again. And I just added another factory here for the infuser, and then moved this over one. So if you do want to copy this setup, I mean, it is just like this, and actually fits fairly neat, like right into this, which is kind of nice. So last but not least, we need to get this set up, and I need to change this into just regular redstone because it is going to be 1-to-1. This uses 20. Actually, am I going to need 2 redstone? Because 1 redstone, I believe, makes just 10. Yeah, I believe 1 redstone dust makes 10. That kind of leaves me thinking, yeah, it was the same way for this, right? This only used 10. This uses double. So I guess when I set this up, make sure to get that redstone in there and make sure it's set to 2. And that should be the right recipe right here. So all I have to do is throw that in here, and voila. Now the rest is going to be regular autocrafts. Also, I do need my speed and energy upgrades. Looks like I need to make a few more energy upgrades. So now that we have all of that stuff automated with Mekanism, we should be able to get some of the cool tools that we can use from Mekanism. So the atomic disassembler, for example, it needs all of these items. So I can just simply start the crafting recipe. Assuming that I have this set up. Why is it saying I'm missing enriched? I should totally have that. I'm a total goof. I forgot to connect all these. That makes total sense. Okay, now that they're all connected, like I was saying, I can go into mech, if I can spell mechanism right, and I can make the atomic disassembler. This thing is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold down Control and click this to start the craft up for everything that is craftable for this specific thing. And then shouldn't take no time at all, and I should have all the items I need for this. So long as I didn't break anything and everything is set up. All right, let's check. Did I craft everything? I did. And there we go. We have everything for this atomic disassembler. And the only thing we're going to be lacking on it is power, which of course we're gaining right now. Slowly but surely we will gain power for this. Now this thing is really nice. It is going to replace our hammer. We know our pickaxe that you guys have been wanting me to repair and make unbreakable for a while. Not going to need it anymore. This atomic disassembler is the ultimate mining tool. It can mine concrete, it can mine dirt, it can mine wood, it can vein mine, it can like do ore excavation stuff, it can mine incredibly fast. It's probably one of the fastest mining tools. It does, however, have a key that you need to press in order to change those modes. And that key is going to be in my case, which is probably in for you as well. And you get this nice little scrolly wheel, and we set this to fast. Boy, it's not joking. It's an instant break when you have it set to fast. That's one of my favorite modes. You gotta be kind of careful with it, but it is one of my favorite. I do like the fact that it has a scroll wheel now, because used to it was just like a toggle, and now it's this. And you can also make it even slower. If you want a slow pick, you can make it. Extended vein mine, there is vein mine, and they're just off. I don't know why you'd want it off, but you can just turn it off if you want. Set it to normal, and everything is hunky-dory. I don't know. Yeah, as far as enchants go, you're not going to be enchanting this. Now, there is a mecha tool that you can make. I think we're going to have enough stuff later on to be able to make this. It just requires a configurator, the tool, some sheets, and we're going to be making polonium pellets before long. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. Eventually, by probably next episode, we're going to be working towards polonium pellets. So the reason all this is set up is for this Mekanism Creative Energy Cube. Now, for me personally, having this cube in general is epic. Like, I want this thing, not only just for crafting, so it's not honestly too expensive to make either. If we take a look at the recipes for it, it's just all the stuff that we just set up. And it's infinite power storage. Infinite power storage, which means we can buffer with this one tiny little block. Do we need to set up the giant multi-block that Mekanism had to offer? No need for all of this this induction cells and all of these crazy things. We just have this infinite capacity. Like, this thing is amazing. So of course I'm going to want to make this. And all I need to do is just set up a couple of crafts for it. It's as simple as this. I have all of these items set up for autocraft. And then I think for the rest, I'm going to leave it unexact, just in case the power thing kind of messes things up. But yeah, everything else is just stepping it up until we have everything auto-crafted. I think that was the next tier, right? The elite, this is the ultimate. And then we take the ultimate to the creative. That seems pretty crazy. It's going to require vibranium, but we should be able to just set up some crafts for the vibranium blocks. And I already have enough vibranium to be able to make like at least more than one of these. So set all that up inside here. We have that completely filled and craft it. You know, it's kind of a bummer. I don't really understand what this thing is about. Like, it's not working, which is kind of a bummer. Well, I guess it's just going to be used for the crafting recipe because it's not working. It's not buffering. It's not storing. It's just eating power. It's just straight up consuming power and not storing it like it sort of says. Very weird. In its only craft that it's used in is this to make a creative energy cube. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, but that amount of power. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, this is definitely what I thought it was going to be. I totally forgot. Now I'm understanding. Now I'm understanding. This basically will eat power infinitely. It's not what I thought it was. Oh, I feel so bad. But I guess I can go ahead and do this because I have that autocraft set up. Let's go to Mechanism, and we can actually make the ultimate, which would still be an okay buffer. Maybe not going into the creative, but the ultimate still holds 102 million FE, or forge power, or RF. I call it everything under the sun. That should definitely still be a pretty decent buffer, and we can use it in the same capacity. This is just not going to work. So yeah, we're gonna set it up the same way that we just had that one set up. So we're gonna remove all of these. One side's gonna be input, one side's gonna be output. Auto eject on. You can kind of see that here. If you want to see which side is what, you can see it right here. Now this should buffer our power 100%, and we shouldn't run into any power issues, I hope. So remember, I need to remember this: flex plug and point. This is gonna be on the separate network. Anything that generates power also needs to be on a new network. So we also need to set up our other system to be on a plug. This is now storing. You can see it's storing our power. That's what you want to see. And now over here, we're going to take our plug, and this is going to start pulling power out of here. Notice we are consuming a lot more than we actually need. That's simply because of our 3x ore processor, which is pretty power hungry. I'm not going to lie. I need to turn my buffer back onto that. But other than that, I think that's about good. We need to set another plug up. So I just need to craft another plug. And I think we're good. I think that power setup is done. We need to set our power back up in our lava dimension. So this isn't generating a whole lot of power, but it is enough to go ahead and definitely put a plug on. And then make sure it's set to the input power. And there we go. We're good on that side. Get out of here. And then back into the RS, I definitely need to toggle this on right here. Make sure the power limit is definitely on here. Because these things really consume some power. like a lot of power. Well, guys, of course, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that's going to go to Zorish. Thank you so much for your amazing support. And guys, if you're interested in becoming a Patreon yourself, of course, you can find that link down in the description below. But another way you can support this video is by, well, clicking that thumbs up button, or maybe clicking that subscribe button if you haven't already. But guys, I hope you enjoyed. Of course, I'll see you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.